Hey, classmates, this is Deanna.
Hey guys, this is Brett, and welcome back to episode 41
41.
of Hard Lessons.
Heck yeah, that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. You know what I realized this last week was?
Uh, Last part of summer?
The 1 year anniversary of us posting our first episode.
No way. I thought it was like in October or
I was
something.
thinking it was in September, but according to Facebook memories, it was August 15th.
Sweet. That's
So
really cool.
happy 1 year anniversary.
Happy 1 year anniversary.
Some of the classmates have been around since the beginning. Still supporting us, still hanging on.
Thank you.
Don't y'all have anything better to do?
Please
No,
don't leave us.
please don't leave us. We have separation issues. So, Teach, how was your week?
It was crazy busy with all the back to school things and in services and trainings. It was just
Running
a lot.
around, craziness.
So one more day and then the kids will come.
Yay. Sam is enjoying his last few fleeting hours of freedom.
Yep.
He doesn't know how lucky he has it,
He does not.
but it's all good.
That's right.
All right, you ready for the more you know?
Absolutely. I'll file it into that cabinet of you don't really need it.
Well, today's more you know, we're going to test your knowledge of U.S. presidents.
Uh-oh.
David Rice Atchison, Senator from Missouri. Does he sound familiar to you?
No.
He was United States President for 1 day.
When?
Zachary Taylor refused to be sworn in because, well, see, back then, March 5th was the swearing in day.
Okay.
So when President Taylor was elected and was going to be sworn in on March 5th, 1849, that fell on a Sunday. And President Taylor was a Christian man, and he said, No, I don't do it. It's Sunday. We'll do it tomorrow. So the president that was before Taylor was President James Polk, and he had already left office, as did his vice president. So David Rice Atchison was what they called at the time the president of the Senate, and he was third in line for the presidency. So for 1 day, he was United States president.
Holy cow.
Now, some people say that he did sign some paperwork. Some people said that he slept through the day. So it's really unsure. And some people even say that he never was president, that this story was made up. So
Interesting, though.
it is very interesting. I tend to believe that he was president. I like the thought that he was president for a day and slept the day away.
There you go. I like it.
All right, you ready to get started?
Absolutely. Class is in session.
All right, so this week is our last of the special just doing true crime. Starting next week, we'll go back to maybe doing some paranormal, maybe doing some host choice, which just as a reminder could be anything from medical mysteries, could be cryptids, could be anything I feel like reporting on. So, but this week was a old time crime, historical, back in the day.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
Which
And
means what?
anything from the 1800s up to like 1950,
Oh.
yeah.
All right.
And Teach requested a gangster story.
Heck yeah.
So when you think of gangsters and you think of female gangsters, who do you think of?
I don't, because I didn't know there was any.
Well, Bonnie, of Bonnie and Clyde.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, she was really the only one I could think of. So, excuse me. So today, I'm going to tell you the story of Stephanie Queenie St. Clair.
Ooh, Queenie.
Queenie. Queenie was born December 24th, 1897, in the French East Caribbean island of Martinique.
Okay.
She died in December of 1969 in Harlem, New York.
Big difference?
Yes, ma'am. Now, according to biographer Shirley Stewart, Queenie came to the U.S. at the ripe young age of 13 in 1911. But other biographers say that Sinclair was about, quotation marks, 23 when she arrived in New York, and that her birth year was actually 1887. Now, I don't know back in the 1800s, early 1900s, but nowadays, I can tell a lot of difference between a 13-year-old and a 23-year-old.
Yeah, there's a huge difference. I don't know.
Not just like physical, but mental also.
Yes, definitely.
But Queenie was also a highly educated woman.
Okay.
Um, so obviously she would have known her age, so it's unclear where the uncertainty comes from unless Queenie was creating the uncertainty from the beginning.
Ooh, another mystery.
The mystery that nobody knows the answer to. She's been gone for a while now, so we'll probably never know the answer to. Um, After originally entering the U.S., uh, St. Clair left for Canada and worked as a domestic servant and returned to New York 5 years later. She was fluent in both French and English. Remember, I was saying she was highly educated. So she could not only speak but write. So this was gave her a professional advantage,
A very huge advantage.
very huge advantage, and that is Queenie right there.
She doesn't look like one to mess with.
No, no. We'll get into some of those here in a little while.
Oh.
Um, Queenie settled into Harlem on the northeast side of Manhattan. Manhattan. I don't know what happened to my voice just then, but I'm back. Early on, she became the leader of a local gang of 40 thieves and ran an extortion and theft rackets. So, like, right away, she's the leader.
Yeah. Wow, it's odd. Just because she's a female and just comes in and just starts taking over.
Mm-hmm. She became a policy banker.
What's a policy banker?
I'm glad you asked. Uh, she came up with $10,000 to develop a numbers racket. So, a policy banker is, and I'm going to explain it more here in a little bit, but basically, she was over the illegal gambling, and
So how did she actually get into all of this? Like she just said, "Hey, I'm going to do this," and boom.
apparently, I mean, like even the biographer that I talked about a while ago was like, she just like basically showed up one day.
Huh.
Nobody had ever heard of her or seen her before.
Okay.
Um, so she started a numbers racket, and it was a lottery similar to those ran in Hispanic and Italian communities, not Italian communities called bolitos.
Hmm.
So here's an Here's how they work.
Like an explanation.
Explanate. I was trying to say exclamation. That's a point. That's a.
Yeah.
Here's an explanation.
Okay.
A bettor attempts to pick 3 digits to match those to be drawn the next day. So you go in one day and say, hey, here's my money, here's my numbers. Then the next day they draw, and if those numbers come up, you win. If they don't, yeah.
Sounds like the lottery.
A lot like it. The number was often the last 3 digits of the handle. What's the handle, you might ask? I'm glad you did. Oh, wait, ask.
What's the handle?
I'm glad you asked. That is the amount the racetrack bettors placed at major racetracks. These numbers were published daily in major newspapers across the U.S.
Okay.
So that's usually so they would go in one day, the bettor, put their money down, say I want these 3 numbers. They'd get the newspaper, the policy banker, Queenie, get the newspaper, find the numbers, look at the last 3. Oh, sorry, you didn't win. I'll keep your money. Or, oh, hey, yeah, you won. Here you go.
Okay.
So basically like the lottery, except, they draw the numbers.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of weird. And it was called policy based on the similarity on having to always pay for insurance, but you may never need it. Which is a gamble on your future. And that's a quote from the article. We love our insurance agents.
Yeah.
This type of illegal gambling often took place in lower income or working class communities, given the members of those communities the thought of, hey, maybe just get lucky and win it big.
Just like today.
Exactly. You never
People
know.
play to win, and it's just their dream to keep playing because one day you never know.
Those numbers will come up. I heard a story one time, and I don't know how true this is or not, but it wasn't around here. It wasn't even in Texas. It was, I want to say, somewhere up north. Anyway, there was this guy that was always playing the lottery every week. Every week he was faithful to play the lottery, and he always played the exact same numbers every week. Well, this one week something happened to where he didn't get to the store in time to get his numbers, his lottery tickets, and that week his numbers came up.
Oh, that would be terrible.
That's Brett luck right there. I'm going to tell you right now.
Yep.
That
That's
is
probably why we don't even play.
exactly.
Anyway.
The numbers racket not only made Queenie rich, and we'll get into that here in a little bit, but it also made her a target.
Oh, yeah, because she was stealing money.
Well, other gangsters was like, she's a woman. I'm going to take that from her. Prohibition loomed in the future, and mobsters such as Dutch Schultz and Lucky Luciano were looking for ways to replace their profits with alcohol. And let's see, right there is Lucky Luciano. And right there is the Dutchman, Dutch Schultz. And again, we'll put these on our Facebook and Instagram pages after a while, but let's give and teach an idea of what these individuals look like. Now, often described as arrogant, sophisticated, and educated, Queenie was, however, also capable of, and you're going to love this, scathing profanity, her well-known and fierce temper. So she wasn't one to be played with. She ain't, as a friend of mine would say, she ain't the one.
I don't sound like it.
Among Queenie's chief rivals was the local police department. Big shocker. And white-owned businesses that were intruding on her Harlem turf. So they saw that there was money to be made, and
they were going to be
forced their way in.
Yep.
Big surprise.
So she went up against Luciano and the Dutchman?
Mm-hmm.
Or the Dutch boy?
Yeah, Dutch Schultz. For several years, Queenie developed and banked the lucrative numbers racket in Harlem. So, like I said, she was the queen. You know,
sounds like it.
But she didn't have to do it alone. Got another photo for you. There.
Oh, is that her man?
Nope.
Okay.
That is.
Sorry.
that is her right hand man. Also a well-known gangster in Harlem. He was her lieutenant, her enforcer, Ellsworth Bumpy Johnson. And as you can see here, he was once played in the movies by Forrest Whitaker.
Ooh, what movie?
I don't know.
The Real Godfather of Harlem. So was that she the godmother of Harlem?
She was the queen.
Oh, it was just the queen.
She
okay.
was the queen.
Sorry.
Bow down. Yeah. Bow down.
Okay, whatever.
So we talked about Schultz a while ago. He was Queenie's chief rival.
Yes. Dutch Schultz. Yes.
And he was known for his legendary temper and violence.
Yep.
I don't think he's met a temper or violence such as Queenie's just yet.
Yeah.
With all eyes on Chicago and the recent St. Valentine Day massacre, meanwhile in Harlem, the bodies were piling up also.
So while in Illinois was happening, they were having like a turf war.
40 people were killed in a war over the numbers racket.
Holy cow.
That's not reported.
Nope.
Because St. Valentine's Day massacre is happening.
Holy cow. Was she like involved in any of the action part of it, or was she like hidden away?
Oh, she was hidden away.
Oh.
She wasn't involved.
Chicken?
Queenie wouldn't do nothing like that.
Chicken.
I am almost positive Queenie was a big part of it. Unfortunately, though, not having the proper protection from the police, Queenie started losing control. And by the mid-1930s, she also lost the support of Bumpy Johnson, her right-hand man, her enforcer. He told her, it's just too much, I'm getting out. So Queenie came to the sad realization that she can't do it all on her own, and that Dutch and Lucky Luciano just had too much power. So she turned control over to them of her numbers game. But Schultz had other ideas. He had other issues going on also.
Okay.
At the time, he was one of the top mobsters in New York City.
Okay.
And there was a young DA that was targeting him by the name of Thomas Dewey. So Dutch thinks, well, Dewey wants to come after me. All right, I'll just kill him.
Yeah.
Can't come after, dead man can't come after me. Now, Lucky is, quote unquote, the chairman of the board of the 5 families of the New York crime syndicate. So, like, everybody answered to Lucky.
Yes.
You didn't pass a gas part. if Lucky said don't.
Mm.
And Lucky, not wanting attention brought to their organized crime families, refused to authorize the hit on District Attorney Dewey. He said it ain't going to happen.
Hmm.
And
I feel a backstab.
Dutch said, hold my beer.
Whoa.
I'm going to do this anyway. So what does Lucky do?
Orders a hit.
Orders a hit on Dutch.
On Dutch.
So on October 25th, 1935, Schultz, along with three of his men, well, Schultz is shot. Three of his men are killed.
Mm.
Schultz, who was shot in the stomach, lived for 1 day, which was long enough for Queenie to send a note to him.
She got her back. She got all of her stuff back.
She sent him a note. I think it might say, "Get well soon, speedy recovery." But she quoted him a Bible verse.
Okay.
As you sow, so shall you reap. Galatians 6:7.
Huh. Oh, kind of fitting.
Very fitting.
Mm-hmm.
So due to smart investments, Queenie was still a very wealthy woman, even without her numbers empire.
Okay.
She just let Lucky have it all now.
But with him out of the... Oh, no, Lucky has... Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
Dutch was out of the way.
Dutch is that way. Lucky's big daddy.
Yeah. Mm.
So about a year after Schultz died, Queenie gets married to the leader of an Islamic Buddhist cult named, and I practice this, Sufi Abdul Hamid.
Huh.
Among other things, Hamid claimed to be a descendant of ancient Egyptian pharaohs.
Okay. Ooh.
Um, and he was not a nice man. As a matter of fact, his nickname,
Uh-huh.
the Black Hitler of Harlem.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he was not nice. Um, and was also convicted of stabbing a communist organizer in 1936. So not long after he and Queenie got married.
Well, he ruled, apparently.
He did for a little bit.
Mm.
You don't cross Queenie.
Uh-oh.
Flamboyant clothing and dramatic community presence, because Queenie was apparently always, somewhere in one of the articles I read, they said her style of dress was futuristic. Like she always had a colorful turban on. She always had the most expensive dresses in town on, and she had long flowing furs. So
She's dressed into the nines.
dressed into the nines. So yeah, they were had a huge presence in their community. All this added together made Hamid and Queenie a perfect match. The marriage, however, was rocky from the start.
No way.
I know, I can see the surprise in your eyes, the shock in your face.
Shocked. That's so sad. They're just so perfect couple.
On January 1st, 1938, so just 2 years after they got married, Hamid, while going to see a lawyer, is shot.
Uh-oh.
Queenie was charged with the crime, and her quote to the press, "If I wanted him dead, he'd be dead." That's a little chilling.
But he's...
No, he lived. She shot him, but he lived.
Oh, okay.
If I wanted him dead, he'd be dead.
If I had wanted him dead, it wouldn't have taken this long to have for it to happen.
Boom. So during the trial, Queenie's lawyer was able to get, are you ready for another twist? was able to get Hamid to admit that his real name
Uh-oh.
is Eugene Brown and he's from Philadelphia.
Did she know this?
She did not. That's a long ways from Hamid in Egypt.
Yeah. Yeah. Holy cow.
Eugene also admitted that he has a mistress
Uh-oh.
by the name of Madame Foufatom.
Uh-oh.
Sounds like she could have been on Harry Potter because she made a living by selling magical potions.
Mm-hmm.
We love us some Harry Potter.
Yeah, we do. But I'm like, she was dead the moment he brought her up.
Quite possibly. Somebody go check on food.
Yep. Like, we'll have to protect her.
Now, we're supposed to have a jury of our peers, correct?
Yeah, she probably bought him bought off.
The all-white jury found her guilty and sentenced her to 10 years in prison.
Oh, here, sweet pea, I'm gonna slap your hands. Now be nice in prison.
Mm-hmm. Um, so let's backtrack a little bit now and talk about Queenie. While she's in prison, we're going to backtrack and talk about when she was in the height of her numbers racket.
Okay.
She was easily making $200,000 a year in 1920s and
That's a
1930s.
lot of money.
You want to know how much that's worth today?
Well, of course.
$3,245,989.42
A year.
a year.
Well, she was banking.
Dude. No
People
wonder they
were
called her queen.
scraping things together just to lose.
Right. She also, it is unknown how she originally came up with the funds to launch her bank. You know, like we was talking earlier, the biographers that have written books about her, like
And
nobody knows. Maybe it was that time she spent in Canada. Maybe the family up there was like, we really like you. If you got to go back to the U.S., we want to give you this. But nobody knows.
Yeah, nobody knows. That's $10,000 for somebody to show up out of the blue with that kind of money. Is like,
Maybe she was part of Harry Potter Wizarding World.
Okay.
He messed that up big time.
No, I mean, I know what you're saying, but
Right. Also, she employed 40 to 50 runners who would go around and check all the gambling locations that she was over and pick up the money and do this and that. She had 10 comptrollers, basically like accountants, making sure the books was all right, and several bodyguards that she employed.
well, yes.
Some of her neighbors in the building that she lived in included W.E.B. Du Bois, who was a writer, an educator, a sociologist, and an activist, and also future U.S. Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall. Queenie was known for her fashion-forward dress, colorful turbans, and flowing furs, like I've already said. Some reason I wrote that down twice.
That's okay.
After prison, Queenie would still fight for civil and economic rights for African Americans. And she had an old friend come back into her life.
Bump?
Bumpy came back and served as her bodyguard until her death on December 12th. Nope, December of 1969. Nowhere I saw any day that she died.
So did she, like, order hits on people? And, I mean, was she that kind of person, too?
She didn't order hits. She just went out and did it herself.
Well, she just did it herself. She just took matters. I like that.
Her and Bumpy.
Like, dude, I told you the rules.
There was nothing official, but there weren't the 40 people that was killed in the turf war. Her and Bumpy probably had a hand in that.
Well, it sounds like it. she was not one to mess with.
No, ma'am. And that
Any family, brothers, sisters, kids.
She came over. That's what I'm saying. The um, biographer was like her early childhood is a mystery. It's like she just showed up in New York one day off that steam engine.
Hmm.
Um, and she never talked about it. She never talked about mom's, dad, family, brother, sister, anything like that. She just
So nobody really knew where she was from.
all they had was her telling them that she came from
Maybe she was
Martinique.
one of them time travelers.
Dude, I think we've
That's why
solved
she
it.
was like dressed that way.
I think we've solved it.
You know, sounds like she was pimp dressing to me. So like, what is that? The 60s and 70s?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like the big fur hat thing and just, yeah,
Yeah.
bright colored clothes and whatnot.
Psychedelic, man.
Yeah. Hmm.
So that is Queenie St. Clair.
I mean, it's not cool, but I mean, that the Dutch Schultz and Lucky Luciano had to deal with her. I mean, that's pretty weird because they were not the type of people
To make deals.
to just deal with people unreasonable
Yes,
in
ma'am.
their mind. I mean, they would have just killed you. It's just
They'd
anything
rather
else.
kill you than look at you.
Yeah, and then it would be like, now what are you gonna do?
Right.
Nobody would go up against them. So that's pretty cool.
She stood her ground.
She did.
My bibliography this week, I found a new website, and I think you're going to like it also.
Okay.
TheMobMuseum.org. And just search her name, Stephanie St. Clair. History.com, how Stephanie St. Clair built a gambling empire in Harlem in the 1920s. Of course, a little bit of information from Wikipedia. And on the finding out how much $200,000 will be worth today, there was a website called amortization.org.
Okay.
So, and that is the story of Stephanie Queenie St. Clair.
Wonder who got all her money when she died. Bump.
Bump.
But Bump got it. They were more than just friends.
He was her lieutenant, ma'am.
Lieutenant Bump.
Lieutenant Bump. So, Teach, what's my grade this week?
Well, I'd give you an A. I mean, I would be curious to know, like, some of the things her and Bump. Because surely she had more of a hand into things than just that racket thing that you were talking about. Her scam. Yeah, her numbers game. She had to be into more than that.
Yeah.
And I mean, just whole life. That's just weird.
That is weird.
Not too bad.
All right.
But I am a gangster. There's something about gangsters.
Well,
I'm like,
who's born on your birthday? Who do you share a birthday with?
John Dillinger.
I think that's where it all started from.
Maybe so, but I don't know. I grew up hearing stories about these people.
Yeah.
So.
What was that movie with Johnny Depp about Dillinger?
I don't know.
Classmates, if anybody knows, reach out.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
I don't remember it. Johnny Depp did a really good job too.
He did.
What was the dude? Oh my gosh. He played in oh my gosh. Bill Murray was in it. He was like the sergeant. Stripes. He played the old sergeant or somebody. I want to say a Warren.
Beatty?
No. No. Let's just see who that is. Yeah, ooh, I was right. Warren Oates. He actually played John Dillinger, and I just remember that movie. I just remember pieces of it, and I remember him being out in front of the movie theater.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember that he's been gone a while. Yeah, like 82.
I think one of the greatest movies that I've seen recently involving gangsters, and it really wasn't from the point of view of the gangsters, but it was that one with Woody Harrelson and Kevin Costner, the Highwaymen.
Yes.
Where they were tracking down Bonnie and Clyde.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty good. I liked it.
It's called Dillinger, 1973. I remember that one.
You was a baby.
Well, yeah, but I didn't see it then.
Right. All right, so Teach has reached into the bowl and drawn the subject for next week, which is
true crime.
I just can't get away from it. I think you did that on purpose.
Yeah, that's right.
Uh-huh.
There's 3 pieces of paper. He had a 1 in 3 chance.
Absolutely. All right. Well, classmates, we'll be back next week with another true crime. Hopefully I can keep my A streak going.
Definitely. Now, if you're wanting like A pluses, then you're gonna have to
get Aliqua back in here.
Probably.
No, A pluses need to what?
A lot more detail. But I mean, I think you're doing really good.
Thank you, Teach.
Heck yeah.
Happy 1 year anniversary.
Happy potiversary.
Potiversary. TM. What's that?
It took me a minute to figure out what the TM was.
Yeah, we're trademarking it.
Yep, our potiversary.
Maybe next potiversary we'll have a cake if we remember.
If we remember. Maybe you should put it in your phone. Like a calendar.
Good point.
Good point.
All right. Love you, classmates. Thanks for y'all's support.
Class is dismissed.